So now that everyone has done native NT4 on a Mac, well, why don't we try NT 3.51? And this was never intended to run on a G3, and they said it probably wouldn't be possible. And then 0.5 came out. It's possible, and it supposedly runs great, and no one's done it yet, so hopefully this goes well. Let's go. Anyway, guys, I'm Greg Hrutkay of Hrutkay Mods, and welcome to episode 7 of season 5 of my PowerPC series. Today we will be installing NT 3.51 onto my G3 Blue and White, which is in a sad state of disrepair that now really didn't want to start. I had to actually open it and push the actual hardware button on the logic board multiple times to get it to start, because the power button for some reason is not working now. Great signs. It also smells 10 times worse now than it did before. I've got to clean this thing out before something bad happens. But yeah, we're going to install NT 3.51 on here and pray it works. So let's get to it. All right, so NT 3.51 was introduced specifically for the early PowerPC systems. That was the redesign. They waited so long, apparently, that they almost didn't release it. And this was for the old 602s, 603s, whatever the pre-G3s were. I don't play with them very often. I always forget the names to them. But it's not actually meant to run on a G3, supposedly. But it's supposed to run now with this patch, which I don't know where I put the disc. There it is, with this patch. So we're going to try to make this work. And I really don't know if this is going to work. Does it still say it's 2040? It does. August 18th, 2040. Yeah. So let's restart this system and start wiping it. I hope this works. Or just wipe it all. So let's do 2048 again. Mac partition, we'll do it the same way that we did the last one. Good sign so far. And it'd be so cool if this just works. Other, enter, G3, S, other, enter, IDE controller, S, other, enter, HID controller, enter. Other, enter, NT3, see, express setup or hit C for custom? C, enter, AT, I'm pointing device, enter. That's a good sign so far. Enter. C. NTFS. See what happens. Hey! It went into the setup. Okay, cool. Can't spell my own name. Can't even spell my company. Mode. There we go. This is going too smoothly. I'm getting concerned already. I hope my concern's nothing important. By the way, I've not done any research on how to install this. The last OS I've used that was like this was 3.11 for work groups. Really, the last time I used it was probably back in the 90s. So, I couldn't use it back then when I was a kid. I still, to this day, really can't figure out these OSs very well. Anything pre-95, I'm not super great on. Today is the 6th, I think. I think it's the 6th. That will work. We'll have a floppy drive. It says it's installed. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I need to eject the disk now, because on 4 it said to eject. Let's eject it, see what happens. It's got 655 megabytes of RAM in it, according to that. It says file system is fat. It's converting to NTFS. It's NTFS now. No, it couldn't have been that easy. Huh. Yeah. Well, it was the least painful experience I've had doing this. Introducing Windows NT. Let's zoom you guys in. This introduction demonstrates how to use the built-in networking, security, and workgroup features of Windows NT to make your job easier. Controls will only be available during the presentation. Blah, blah, blah. I bet you those won't work on this keyboard, but we're going to find out. Okay. Exciting, riveting entertainment here. Those buttons actually work. It's shocking. This is kind of cool. Escape. Yeah, that seems to work. Aims. Minesweeper. Yeah. That's probably mine. Yep. I forgot there's no right click and I just tried to right click. Yep. Yeah. Cool. Minesweeper works. And I always hated how this worked. Because when I was a kid, like a very, very young kid, like a infant basically, we used NT 3.11 for work groups. And I don't really remember how you play FreeCell. But yeah, we'd use 1.1 in my dad's office. And this is basically that in layout. This is as close as you can get to it, more or less. It seems to work fine. Solitaire works. Close. Close. See here. What does NT setup do? Okay. Cool. You can set up devices on there doing that. MS-DOS editor. How is that going to work in an NT? It really isn't. Cool. It's probably pretty useless in NT, but you know, it's cool that it's there in task. And speaking of 3.11 for workgroups, I've got a stack of those computers from when I was a kid sitting in the back. We'll do a video on someday, but not right now. So this is the system info page. I think this is for like setup itself for booting. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not super familiar with this OS. It confused me as a kid. Well, 3.11 did. 3.51 I've never actually played with. It's interesting. Display. Yeah, it's just like the other one. And it's only stuck on true color. Cool. Now, there it goes. Yes, I did. Don't restart. Let's see here. What else we got here? Sound. That probably doesn't work. Yeah, I figured that. We'll close that out. All the drivers that were installed. There is a system info, and I can't remember. It's under file, I think. Help. About Program Manager. Tells you a little bit more about the system. Power Macintosh Grossumer. That's proof it's running on this right now, and it's working. There's really not a whole lot more you can say about it. Do accessories. CD player probably would not work with no sound. It's there. Back when paint was called paintbrush. Yep, it's paint. We can erase. We can color in. We can type in a different color than that. Let's try. Yeah, cool. It works. No, I want to save that. Let's see here. I mean, it's just 3.51. I mean, it's cool that you can run it, but honestly, NT4 is probably a little more useful. I'm sure there's a lot more programs out for it for PowerPC. 3.51 wasn't out very long on PowerPC. I mean, it worked. And you got to remember, this OS was written for CPUs that were literally half as fast as a G3. This would be really scary on a G4. Calculator. Works. Phone chat. It's literally a chat application. Oh, cool. So you could add people over a dial-up. It looks like that exactly. makes a call to someone at another computer. It's kind of neat. If we could get networking to work, that would actually be kind of cool. Got terminal, character map, administrative tools. Application error has occurred. So not everything works properly. See what hardware does. Tells you about it. Cool. Memory. It's saying you have a lot of memory. It's got more memory in it than Windows 98 can handle. Gross ham. It's for the SCSI port. Drives. Cool. It sees the drive. Performance monitor. It is literally not pulling anything, from what I can tell. I don't know how performance monitor works on this OS. It's working, I can tell you that much. Yeah. If I could remember how you change the wallpaper, that would be kind of cool. I'm totally lost at this point. It works. It's NT 3.51. Can't really say much more than that because I keep opening the wrong stupid stuff. I mean, it seems to be working. Can't tell you much more about the OS because I don't know much about this generation of Windows. My main OS that I learned everything on was Windows 95 when I was a kid. I knew how to start 3.11. I knew how to close it out, and I knew how to play Doom on the computer. That's about it. Other than that, I never played a whole lot with it. I was never a huge fan of the layout compared to the later OSs. So yeah, it works. I can't say more about it than that, though. It's close. There it goes. Before we wrap it up, I remembered it's under control panel, so we can customize it. So, 256 color bitmap. See what happens. That's the whole wallpaper. Yeah, that didn't work well. Let's try that again. When NT 256 tiled, we'll do flying objects. I wonder if OpenGL will work. Huh. Neat. It works. 3D pipes. Classic. Cool. Go to the next color. You can go to the next color. Wow, that was it works. Marquee display. Your text goes here. Yeah, you can tell it runs a little fast. But yeah, let's hit none. Hit OK. There's my new wallpaper. That's cool. So yeah, now we can wrap up the video, and let's definitely do that. Let's go. So kudos to the developers of Macintosh. I guess that's how you would say it. On making this really seamless now. It works really well. I hope the development continues on with this because, I mean, this is running an OS that came out 4 years before this computer was built. Wow. And it just works. It works seamlessly. And it was never intended to work on a G3, and they said it never would. And it was like a flick of a switch, you know. After, I guess, he developed the 4 patches, he realized the 3 patches would work in the same manner, and they did. In fact, I followed the same exact instructions for 4 to install 3.51. And 3.51 is a really weird OS. It wasn't around more than like a year. The earlier NT versions were more based off of Windows 3. NT 3.51 was a whole different OS, and it was based off of 3.1. And this is why it's similar to 3.11 for work groups, like what I used when I was a kid. It's just the NT version. And they decided that they wanted to do a AIM Alliance, system-based PowerPC install for it also. And it took IBM so long to come up with the PowerPC architecture designs that they almost didn't release this OS. It was released a lot later than it was supposed to. This OS was released in 1995. By the time this was released, Windows 95 was already out. This was an already old-looking OS, because this OS was based off an operating system from, I think 3.1 came out in 93. And that's what it looks like, and that's how it works. On the surface. Underneath, of course, it's NT, which is way different. But yeah, it didn't last very long. They replaced it nearly immediately with 4.0, which is based off the Windows 95 style and functionality. It's, of course, underneath way different, but on its physical appearance, it's more of a Windows 95 install. So yeah, it by the time it came out, it was a dated OS, but had more optimized, better features than 95 underneath. Yay for you, Microsoft. Yeah. This was just more of a stopgap OS, and that's why I'm surprised anyone actually decided that we should be able to run this on a G3. And I'm kind of glad they did, because this is an interesting experiment. I don't see a big future for 3.51, but for 4, I'm hoping that we develop more things with it. And maybe some patches and hacks out there to make this more compatible with x86 stuff. Because, there's emulators and stuff that will allow you to run x86 programs, but some of them require more than Service Pack 2, which was where 4 maxed out at. And those programs just won't run. And I mean, you could probably spoof the OS version, but it still might not run without the right patches and stuff. So that's a bit of a problem. But yeah, I'm really glad this worked out as easy and as fast as it did, because this video took me less than an hour to film this time, instead of a week and a half of pain. The last video was like 44 separate videos and over 2 hours of material, and we crammed it into 39 minutes. This video is not going to be anywhere near that length. Yeah. A lot less painful this time. So, yay! Anyway, guys, that's the end of today's video, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, I do have a Patreon, memberships. Please subscribe if you haven't, etc., etc. And yeah, that's the end of today's video. Once again, this has been a Hrutkay Mods video.